Hey ladies and gentlemen, Stephen here from Redolessence and welcome back to another video. Thank you all so much for tuning in. And in today's episode, we're going to be taking a closer look at one of the newest releases by the company Duo Fragrances. This is an original creation and this one is called Intimacy, so make sure to stay tuned. Now, before I begin the video, I do want to disclose that this product was sent to me for review by the company, but as always, I will keep all opinions my own. As a matter of fact, I am on Duo Fragrances press list, so whenever they come out with new fragrances, and the owner of the company knows me pretty well, so he actually sends me fragrances depending upon my taste. So this one is an original blend, and I really appreciate the original creations from the House of Duo, and they actually sent me two, and I choose to review this one today because this one is a little bit more catered for the colder weather. So it actually has some boozy elements. There's this 25-year-old aged Madagascan vanilla note that I found to be quite interesting in the note breakdown. And there's also a medley of spices in there that I think either came from India or Nepal. I didn't study the note breakdown too extensively, but I know there's a series of spices in there. And so this one also has a metal plaque label on the front. And from what I'm given to understand, they choose to reserve the metal plaques for the fragrances that are a little bit more on the sophisticated or the pricey side, especially for some of their inspirations. And I can definitely see, especially with the color of the juice and the liquid, that this one is a little bit more heavy, a little bit more concentrated, and I personally really enjoy the smell. So I'm happy to tell you what I think of the fragrance. Let's start things off by taking a quick look at the presentation. So as far as the boxes go, if you've seen one, you've seen them all. It just has this flap here on the front with the Duo logo. On the inside, you do have some information on the company, so if you'd like to pause your screen, you can go ahead and read that. And on the right here is where the bottle rests. The side of the box just has the concentration, which is Extrait de Parfum. And the back of the box just has the concentration and the size once more, as well as the ingredients. So the bottle for this fragrance does have a metal plaque here on the front, and then you have this amber colored liquid on the inside here. So I definitely wouldn't advise to spray this one on clothing. The cap for this fragrance clicks into place very securely. You can pick this one up from the cap. And the distribution on the atomizer is very wide. Let's continue with the smell. So the first thing that I can say about this fragrance is it comes across smelling very boozy. And I noticed that there's a whiskey accord in the note breakdown of this fragrance. And whiskey is an ingredient that I've certainly encountered in some other fragrances before, Creationy by Roja Parfum, a number of other fragrances as well. Not to say that this smells anything like that fragrance, but it definitely starts off very boozy and spicy. And I know that spices are also used in the fermentation of certain alcoholic spirits. So I can see why there's this overdose of spices in there. It just makes sense to me. Now, I know it said clove oil in the note breakdown. Nothing about this makes you smell like a Thanksgiving ham or a Jarum Black or something like that. So it's not an overdose of clove. I mainly get some other spices in here like nutmeg, perhaps a little bit of cardamom. It definitely has this exotic appeal about it that I really enjoy. As it starts to dry down, the warmth from the resins and the vanilla starts to come through. But despite the fact that this does contain Madagascan vanilla, I don't find it to be too sweet. I think it's more on the boozy side for me. So the boozy opening is something along the lines of like a Nasamados Baraonda, but not exactly. It's definitely in that same territory, in that same wheelhouse, but this is a much spicier expression to my nose. Another ingredient listed in here is Nagarmoda, also known as cypriol oil. And so it has a very sort of smoky culinary vibe. And I also don't get that used too strongly in this fragrance. So kudos to the brand for managing to balance out the various spices in here. So it's not something that's overwhelming or overbearing. I really think that the two profiles of this fragrance that are the most concentrated and that you're likely to notice immediately is the vanilla with the resins and also that whiskey accord in the opening. And as far as the boozy fragrance is concerned, I think they really hit the nail on the head with this one. But I think that will also put you in a territory where you have to think twice about when and where to wear this fragrance. And so obviously, if you're a fan of niche fragrances and you're very passionate about smells, you're not going to let anybody influence you. You're going to wear this wherever you want. But I think that if you're looking for something to wear on a casual basis, they do have another fragrance that I absolutely love called Flagship, also an original creation, definitely veering more on the citrusy side. And so I would recommend that fragrance for somebody who's looking for something that's more of like an everyday kind of a scent. If you're looking for something in the wheelhouse of a little bit more daring while not being overly overly challenging. It's not animalic or skanky or smoky or anything like that. Definitely check this one out, but you have to be a fan of whiskey fragrances to really appreciate this one. As an original creation, I truly do like this one. Let's go ahead and finish things off with my overall assessment. Now, first up, in terms of the uniqueness and the overall smell, I do find this to be a unique fragrance, especially in the way that the whiskey accord is being utilized. I actually feel like there aren't too many fragrances out there that smell like this one, and so it does earn points for originality. The overall smell, however, keep in mind it's not a Freshie, it's not a Dior Sauvage or a Bleu de Chanel or a Mr. Burberry, so it's not a fragrance that will appeal to the masses. But of course, if you're into it for niche fragrances, if you want something that smells a little bit more experimental and expressive, check this one out. Longevity on my skin was great. I got about 8 to 9 hours. Projection fantastic for the first 2 hours, keeping in mind that it's not top heavy. There's a lot of base notes in here, whether we're talking about the resins, the spices, the vanilla, and some of the other fixatives being utilized underneath. And so the performance on this one is very, very good. It's just not overly loud. Versatility on this one is compromised somewhat, just because I wouldn't wear this one in the dead of summer. I do find this to be unisex, and I also think that this would work well in higher tier occasions. So if you're wearing something dressed up, formal event, have nice suit and tie on, this will really get heads to turn. The presentation on this one is minimal. It does have the metal plaque on the front here, like some of their other offerings in the past. So my final verdict on this one is, if you're in the market for a boozy scent, but you're looking for something different, but you also happen to be a fan of Baraonda by Nasamato, definitely check this one out. Although it has some familiar elements to Baraonda, it's totally unique. It has its own flair. It's much spicier. There's a lot more warmth going on in the base. But I think in terms of the way that the whiskey accord is expressed, there's a similarity there. But definitely check this one out. I think you will be pleasantly surprised by its uniqueness. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in. That was my review of Intimacy by Duo Fragrances. If you own or have tried this fragrance, go ahead and let me know what you think. Leave a comment down below. Also, don't forget to subscribe if you are new to this channel and you took something of value from this video. This way, whenever I do upload future fragrance-related content, it will get delivered straight to your feed. You never need to worry about missing any of my future uploads. Thanks again for watching. I love you all. We'll see you next time. Bye.